Hey, you fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And we're at episode 109.
One day, I shall come back.
Oh dear, we are in trouble, aren't we?
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
I have the advantage of being slightly ahead of you. Sometimes behind you, but normally ahead of you.
But the trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear. And it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
A meteor storm, and the sky above us was dancing with lights. Purple, green, brilliant yellow, yes!
I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose.
Run for your life.
It's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Just remember who's standing in your way.
Look at the eyebrows. These are attack eyebrows. You can take bottle tops off with these.
Adam and I are having the same chuckle that we've done for the last couple of weeks since we pointed out. Well, Adam pointed out that the Matt Smith sound clip. It sounds like he's wasted, just throwing empty beer bottles up at the Dalek ships. And so well,
funny.
Oh,
Sorry.
Here we go. Go on.
Oh no! I was just gonna say it's funny because you know when you were doing the clips for the intro and you saying how hard it was to find a Eighth Doctor clip.
It was hard.
Without any music, and because it was obviously mixing with the theme tune, so it was a bit awkward. And I noticed the same thing with they've just released a trailer for the Blu-ray. The Eighth Doctor TV movie Blu-ray, and I noticed the same thing. They've obviously struggled because they've got a theme playing over it, and their music sort of really bashes with the theme as well. I was thinking, I bet they were the same, thinking, oh god, we can't mix it, and
it's a nightmare.
It is because there's very little bits in the TV movie where the Doctor's talking, but there isn't music, is there? Which makes it hard if you're trying to find a little audio clip. So I was thinking of that, listening to our theme kicking in this morning.
Yes, it is difficult.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And I've thrown you off your intro now, haven't I?
That's cool. Anyways, welcome. Welcome aboard the TARDIS, episode 109. Hope you guys have had a fantastic week and that you've managed to consume something Doctor Who related, whether it be a comic or a book or an episode or Big Finish or a colouring book, or played with some toys, or played Doctor Who Monopoly, or dusted all the dust off of your shelves.
I'm hoping you've done all of those things.
That would be an amazing week if you managed to get all that in.
Amazing. Yeah.
But no, I've done hardly any of that. In fact, I've done 2 of those things, I think.
Is one of them dusting the shelf?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
That has to be done. That's a critical moment each week, because if you leave it and you just leave it, you end up with just massive clumps. So because what happens is all the stuff on your shelf turns from its natural color, what it should be, to like this kind of soft grey color, because the dust is just coated everything. So your nice sort of dark blue TARDIS replicas and toys, they don't look dark blue anymore. They look like this sort of faded light blue.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But then again, in the classic series, they never used to worry about it. Like I've seen John Pertwee's console rising with a thick layer of dust on top of it and fingerprints and stuff. They didn't worry about that stuff back then.
Oh, do you know what?
Just leave it. It'll sort itself out.
That's one thing that always astonishes me about watching some of the classic stuff, is that the condition of the TARDIS console and just the interior TARDIS set in general, because it gets to the point where it's not too bad at the start of a series or at the start of a Doctor's run, but then as you get through the series or through their run, by the end of it, it's like all of the interior walls are all scuffed at the bottom. The TARDIS console's all mashed up and scuffed. No one's cleaned it. It's like, wow, this is like, if you can imagine the TARDIS set now, Capaldi's set, that's probably maintained, so intricately, like everything is cleaned and dusted, so it looks all, nice, and like it looks brand new every episode.
Yeah.
And that always amazed me about the classic stuff. There was nobody in the entire production that thought we should probably run a duster over the console now and then.
That's why there's no set in Battlefield, because it was so bad they threw it in the bin.
They lobbed it away, yeah.
And I'm thinking, do you think of the TARDIS as well in Spearhead from Space? Brand new series, Doctor Who's back in colour for the first time. Yeah, just knock that old TARDIS prop up where we have all the lights smashed. Oh, Joe Public won't notice.
Well, the lights, the lights seen better days.
I mean, when Pertwee falls out of that TARDIS, it nearly falls with him.
It wobbles, doesn't it? A lot.
Oh,
it creaks and wobbles, and
in fact, it did. And then, which story is it? Seeds of Doom. Although we don't see it on screen, is when it actually finally gave up the ghost and collapsed on top of poor old Liz Sladen.
Oh yeah, she hurt herself, didn't she?
Yeah, the blooming flop just finally said, "You know what? I've had enough."
Is that as bad or as funny as the prop disaster from Greatest Show in the Galaxy, where the head clown takes a wallop to the head?
Oh no, that makes me wince every time, that thing.
It makes your knees go funny.
Yeah, and that actually is. I mean, the obviously the TARDIS prop collapsing hasn't. It doesn't survive on film. So, but that actually does. So you can watch that on the outtakes of the DVD or the making of whatever. That's it clunks him right in the head, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Poor old Chief Clown.
Yeah, that's it. Chief Clown takes a bonk straight to the noggin.
Yeah,
that'll take that smile off his face.
Well, yeah, good job it was painted on.
Yeah. Anyways, I've got to say a big wave and hello to a bunch of new listeners that have jumped on board. Had quite a few tweets over the last week. People saying that they discovered the podcast or people had recommended it, so that's all good. So
excellent.
Virtually, sonically waving to all you guys. Welcome aboard. Hello.
Welcome, yeah.
And long-termers, grizzled ancients. Hello to you.
Lurkers too. And lurkers.
Whoever you are, yes. Hello to you. What have you been up to, mate? Anything?
Well, I've managed to cram quite a lot in this week, actually. When you were listing a whole load of stuff, I could tick off a few of them.
Oh, cool.
Because I've read a comic. I've read the new Third Doctor comic, which is brilliant, actually. I don't know, have you got it yet?
I've not got those, no.
Oh, you're going to love it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's only issue 1. It's literally just come out. It's really, really good. So I read that, loved it. Because, I've been getting a bit behind with the comics. So I thought, right, issue 1, let's get into this. I also watched a bit of TV. So tick that one off. I watched The Rescue, because we reviewed The Romans the other week. Mm-hmm. And I kind of wanted more I needed a bit more Hartnell after watching that. And because they're in the box set together, I thought, I'll just watch that. Nice little 2-parter. I can fit that in this week. Watch that. I'm not going to say what I thought of it because we haven't reviewed it yet, but great to get another fix of Hartnell because he's just superb. And I also listened to a bit of audio. Do you know the guy Chris Thompson?
Yes.
Does the Second Doctor impression.
That's right.
Yeah, I've been chatting to him quite a bit recently and been going back and listening to his audios that he produced. They are superb. He's done 3 so far.
Okay.
So I've been listening to a bit of that, and the first ones was the Ice Warriors. And I mean, firstly, his impersonation of the Second Doctor is bang on. He's brilliant as the Second Doctor. But the whole production of it is so good. I mean, it's like, it's up there with Big Finish. Like the music, the sound design, it's just brilliant. And they're nice little 20-minute episodes as well, which suit me perfect. Because I don't zone out. I don't start sort of doing a bit of dusting or whatever. So yeah, I've been listening to a bit of that and really enjoying those. So I've had quite a good week Who-wise, actually. Got no work done, but I've got plenty of Who going on.
Well, when you've done that amount of Who stuff, that's an achievement in itself.
Well, I needed to keep my mind off something because it's not all been good.
Oh.
I am still waiting for my TV movie Blu-ray to be dispatched from Amazon.
Oh.
Yeah. And I've been seeing all these people posting pictures. Oh, I've got it. Look what I've got. Oh, here's the disc. And, oh, actually the picture quality is really good. And here's a screen grab. And I've been like, where's my blimmin' Blu-ray? It's been out nearly a week. So, I'm not happy. I've finally got an email this morning saying it's due for delivery on Saturday. And I'm like,
really?
I don't know what's taking them so long. But I'll tell you, recently Amazon have been rubbish with delivery. So I'm really starting to go off them. So I don't think I'm going to use them for pre-orders after this because you know what I'm like. I want it now. I didn't expect to get it on the day of release because I didn't pay for it. So you have to pay extra if you want it on day of release. So I thought, well, it'll probably arrive a day or 2 after. That's what they used to do. But no, nearly a week late, so not very happy. I mean, it's not as if I haven't got it. It's it's not it's not really a big deal. I just want it. Just want it in the collection. I have heard it's a little bit lazy though. I don't know if you've seen some of the pictures of it. Apparently the set, it's a 2-disc. Apparently the second disc is literally just the same as it was in the special edition. So even the barcode is the same because none of the special features are have been upscaled, obviously. So it's literally you're literally buying one new disc and one that's been out for ages.
Correct.
I think so. I understand. Obviously, I haven't got mine, so I can't confirm that. But that's what I've heard. So that's a bit shoddy, isn't it? So that's basically that's not even a Blu-ray, really, is it?
Well, I can confirm.
Oh, you've got it, have you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can confirm that the second disc is just the same as you would buy in the DVD set.
So is it DVD or Blu-ray?
Well, no, the first disc is a Blu-ray disc.
Yeah.
Which has got the movie on it. And it's got a couple of extra features in the menu on the Blu-ray disc.
Right.
And then the second disc is just the DVD.
Oh, that is shoddy then. Yeah.
A little bit.
Oh, where did you get yours from, just out of interest? Not Amazon.
Amazon.
Really?
Yeah.
When did yours arrive?
Monday.
Okay, this is awkward.
That's why when you said it, and I was like, don't know what to say here. This could be potentially horrific. You could lose it. You could lose it.
You could lose it live on air.
I was going to say, I don't know what term to use. Yeah, live on air is just going to go crazy. But yeah, I pre-ordered it, I think, about when it was announced a couple of months ago, which I'm sure you did as well.
Yeah, well, I did. I've had it on order for ages, yeah. You know that scene in Force Awakens where where Kylo Ren smashes up all the equipment?
Yeah, when he gets told that bit of bad news and he just,
Yeah, and he loses it.
Lightsaber out.
What's going to happen as soon as we call cut.
Oh dear, this could be a delicate show then. You're feeling a bit, miffed at Amazon.
Well, no, actually, I'll be all right.
Oh,
Swipe away a little tear.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Okay. I'm fine. So yeah, it's fine. I've got plenty of other stuff. I'll just hold it close. I'm fine.
Yeah, stiff upper lip and all that.
That's it. Yeah. So apart from that, a good week for me.
Good.
Yeah. Did you tell us what the other thing was? Because you said you did dusting and...
Oh, a dusting and just watching some Who.
Oh, okay. Watching some...
Yes. So yes, last week for me just consisted of dusting my Doctor Who shelves because it does really annoy me when I've left it for too long and I have to buy a pack of dusters specifically for those shelves because I know it's just caked in dust.
Yeah.
So so did that. I watched the TV movie on Blu-ray, which I'm not going to go into too much detail. Watched our review ep, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was also, this happens all the time whenever we do a Tennant review. I always find myself just wanting to carry on watching through the series. So I watched the next few after that. So 42, Human Nature and Family of Blood, which come after Lazarus. So had a bit of a little sort of mini Tennant marathon. And went through and listened to, because I haven't really got any new Big Finish. Haven't got anything new for a while. But I listened to Light at the End again.
Oh, yeah.
Which seems to be a bit of a go-to for me. I'm not sure whenever I'm bored and just want to stick on some Big Finish. I reach for that one. I'm not sure why. Just because it's got a bit like classic Doctor's New Monsters. It's just got like, all the Doctors, doing their thing. And it's quite an easy listen because it's not one Doctor, doing his thing. It's like lots of nice, cool little bits. So, kind of a light week.
Yeah, not too bad though.
For Who, but not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
Not
bad in a week, is it?
Yeah, an average Whovian's week.
Yeah,
I would say. So, yeah. One thing I will say about the TV movie, the Blu-ray, is if you haven't, any listeners that haven't pre-ordered it and got it, and haven't or not thinking of buying it, you're not missing out too much. Put it that way.
Yeah, that's the feeling I got. It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not like night and day difference between the DVD that you've already got versus this new one, purely because it's just an upscale. So although the picture quality is it's an improvement over the DVD, and the audio as well, it really isn't enough to sort of think, oh no, I haven't got it yet and I'm desperate to watch it. Don't worry. It's really not. I wouldn't say it's like a sort of big anticlimax or a fail or anything, but yeah, it would have been amazing if they'd have gone back to the original film and did a clean up and restore and a rescan, into proper high definition. That would have been amazing. It would have looked absolutely brilliant. But it's a shame when you have something like Spearhead from Space that looks better than something that was made however many years after. I don't know what the gap is between that and
about
the
20
TV movie, but
years or 20.
Yeah, but yeah, Spearhead just knocks socks off of it.
It's strange, isn't it? Because I keep reading about the actual original film prints. I've read two different things, and I need to get some clarification on this. Are either held by Fox, the company, who won't let them be used, or something like that. Is it Fox that made it? I can't remember. Whoever made it. So somebody's either got them and won't let the original films be used, which sounds a bit strange, or that they've been. I read the other day that the original prints have been lost. The actual original film's lost, so they've only got this sort of digital copy in the archives. No. But there does seem to be a reason why. But I'm not quite sure what that reason is, that they can't use the original film prints. Yeah,
I think the film prints are definitely there. They're just held by, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it might be Fox who own the rights to the original films and everything like that. But
see, that seems strange, doesn't it? So they've got the rights to release it, but they won't let them use the original film. But I just don't get. I don't know how these things work, but it seems bizarre to me that.
Yeah, so they just took the original master that they used to make the DVD. They just used that and upscaled it, basically. So they didn't get access to the original film, which is a shame. But it's all to do with licensing and legal agreements and stuff. Exactly the same thing happens with, and let's just caveat this next section with this is not a Star Wars podcast, but it is, it's the same thing where A New Hope was...
that was Fox, wasn't it?
That was 20th Century Fox, yeah, and they hold the rights to the original film negative, which is why we haven't seen a rescan and restore up to like the 4K, like the new Ultra HD and 4K and all that stuff.
Yeah,
because they hold the rights to that bit of it, whereas it's just weird. It's like the licensing and legal stuff behind, who owns the certain properties. It's a bit of a...
See, that worries me because I just have visions of them just in an old, cupboard in Fox's warehouse, just gathering mold and dust. And do you know what I mean? They're like, oh, we can't use them, so we're not bothered about them. And, they're not being looked after sort of thing. That's what I worry about. If they're just...
Yeah, they'll just be in one of those silver sort of round canisters just up on the shelf somewhere. And they'll probably stay there for another however many years before they decide to do something decent with them.
Just had a vision then of me and you in an old people's home at 90 years old, and me going, Gary, they're releasing the original Star Wars on some new format that doesn't even have a name yet, and me and you trying to get up and dance with our walking sticks, hooray, hooray, because that's how long it's going to be, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought you're going to go the other way with that then. I thought you had visions of us in balaclavas and black gear, like parasailing down into Fox's warehouse.
Well, I have got that vision, but I'm not admitting it on a podcast.
With like the little head, the helmet torches that miners use.
Yeah,
just scanning through all the shelves. I've got it. And then we get home. It's like, well, what do we do with this then?
Yeah,
don't know.
Get an old projector out.
Should we have a sit down? You put it on. Yeah, get one of those old reel-to-reel projector things. Oh, this looks crap. Yeah, probably take it back, shouldn't we?
Yeah, and then see the blue flashing lights outside.
Yeah. Anyway, enough talk of our future endeavours, future projects to get the
original. To you from a prison cell.
Yeah, coming to you from Her Majesty's whatever. Let's do some news, shall we? Shall we land the TARDIS?
Okay.
Do some newsage. Class.
Hashtag class.
The upcoming spin-off show, Class, has had a new teaser image released.
Well, about time, because they've had about 2 floating around since it was first announced.
And for those listeners that have not seen the teaser image, it is, if I can describe it as best I can, it is set, I believe, in a classroom. Funnily enough, there's a blackboard in the background with various equations on. Yeah. And in front of the blackboard is one of the characters from Class. I can't remember what character this is. You'll have to tell me, mate. And it's one of the elder. She's not old, but it's just one of the older main female cast. She's sort of leaning in this sort of attitude-y type, bring it on pose. Yeah. And hand in pocket, and in the other hand, she's holding what looks like some sort of alien / futuristic / not of this world laser pistol with a bright blue glow at the top. And the only piece of text describing the image is "War is coming."
And so what I love about this, I saw someone had... Do you remember when you used to take your photos to Boots and they used to come back with quality control stickers on? Because this one's got the head cut off. I saw a brilliant sort of mock-up of this on Twitter that just got that sticker saying quality control. Because that's what I thought. I thought, well, where's her head? They've like chopped her head off in the photo. Yeah. I guess I know they've done it to create air of mystery and it's very cool and very arty, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it did make me laugh. That what can you take from this image? Though the head chopped off. So what can you take from it? Board in the background's got the blackboard's got the writing, bit like when the 12th Doctor had his blackboard for the writing. Mm-hmm. The gun, I suppose, having a head chopped off draws your eyes to the gun.
Yep. In
the photo, which looks quite cool. I suppose, yeah, it's quite a cool looking laser gun, whatever.
Yeah.
The pose is very attitude, isn't it? Like you said. But what else can you take from that image? Yeah, I don't know. I thought, well, this will be one of a few. I thought they'll do one each over a course of a week or something and introducing the characters. But this is now about a week or two old, and we haven't had any more yet, have we?
No, I think this is it. Yeah.
So what are you taking from this? Is this getting you? War is coming. Is this getting you excited?
Not really, because in exactly the same way as my reaction to the logo that they released when the 3 novels were announced.
Oh yes, you weren't impressed, were you?
This looks just too generic to me. It looks like sci-fi that we're used to, and it looks like stuff that's been and gone before. Unfortunately, one thing that we hate doing, both of us hate doing, is being a negative ninny about stuff. But you've got to just we can't lie to you guys and say this looks absolutely brilliant and it's going to be amazing, because I honestly don't feel that way. I just think that it looks too, I don't know, it just doesn't nothing shouts out to me like, well, I'm really looking forward to seeing what that is about. Or it just looks like sci-fi that we've seen many times before.
They need to drop a trailer, don't they? That's what we need to see. A trailer. We need to get some little snippets of what we're in for, I think, to really save this, because they are being a bit lax at the minute. It's supposed to air end of October, I think. Is that what they're saying? Somewhere around there.
I'm not sure. I think it's the end, because we're nearly at the end of September now, aren't we? So
Yeah. So we need to get a bit more going on this, because they've set up a Snapchat account as well, and they were like saying there's going to be all this exclusive stuff, and then they just literally just posted what we've already seen, which is nothing. So that was a bit of a letdown. So they need to ramp up the promotion a bit on this, I think. We definitely need to get a trailer drop so we can have a look at that. I've heard a few bits floating around. Apparently, I think it was Patrick Ness said this, I'm not sure, but said that it's not suitable for kids. This program, he wants to make it clear that this is aimed at a sort of teenage to adult market. Well, yeah, I know. I thought that as well, because class, school, kids, but no, apparently this is going to be quite adult. I've heard about some of the stuff that the BBC were apparently worried about, including sex scenes and stuff like that. That BBC were a bit like, oh, we're not sure, this is a bit much. That comes later in the series. So yeah, I'm not sure. I hope this isn't going to go down the same route as Doctor Who in not knowing its audience, if you know what I mean. Like Doctor Who seems to have really sort of lost track of where it's going and who it's appealing to. So yeah, I don't know. Until we get a bit more to go on, I guess we can't tell. But at the minute, it's sounding a little bit. And
I was trying to figure out if there was anything to the equations and the algebra stuff on the blackboard behind her, but my mathematical mind is not as not on par with some, whichever genius has wrote these out. I was trying to think, is there anything to that could give anything away? But if we've got any mathematicians who listen, who have seen the image that can put any put any of these equations in context or anything, that'd be good. But to me, it just looks like random gibberish. Yeah. So,
in fact, it looks backwards. I've just noticed because the equals R, it's got like R plus R plus R equals R, but it's backwards. I don't know. Perhaps they put the picture around the wrong way or something.
Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. But it's good that we've had a little snippet of something, I guess, but it's still not shouting anything to me like Gary, you need to make sure that you're free, on the evening this goes out, because it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
It'll probably be one of those. I'll probably catch it, the next day or two after it goes out. Unless, Twitter explodes and it's like, oh my God, this is the best thing since Game of Thrones or whatever, you've got to see it.
Okay. So no, I'll definitely be watching the first one because I'm just so intrigued by it. But we'll see. And I just keep looking at that gun, and there are things I want to say, but I won't because this is a family podcast. But I'm just looking at it thinking that is a gun that she's pulled out there, isn't it?
It's definitely yep.
It does look a bit dodgy. Anyway, let's move on from class, and we await the next image or teaser, whatever we get. But here's some exciting news. We talked about this the other week, but we've got a bit more details on it now about the BFI screening the first 3 episodes of Power of the Daleks.
Yeah.
Something I just would love to get tickets for this. I'm going to really try harder. I doubt there's any chance, but anyway. So they're giving a bit more detail on it. They're going to be showing the first 3 episodes from the new animated Power of the Daleks release. There's going to be a couple of Who guests in attendance. So we're going to have Annika Wills and Fraser Hines there, which will be great. I mean, Fraser wasn't in this episode, was he? So that'd be quite interesting to get his thoughts on it as well. And Annika Wills is always good fun as well. So really great to have those 2 guys attending this premiere of it. Ticket price is going to be £22.70, which includes a copy of the DVD, which is going to be posted out to you once it's released. So that's cool. That's pretty good, actually, because, you get to see it early, is it? Because it's first 3, you get to see it. You get a DVD included in the price, so that's very good. And the tickets go on sale on the 4th of October at 11:30 a.m. So if you can, be standing by if you want to go and see this like me and Gary. Be standing by your computers at 11:30 because they'll go on sale. I will warn listeners from previous experience, BFI members do get advanced priority booking. So in the past, a lot of these things have been sold out before they even go on sale, which can be a bit frustrating. I'm really hoping that doesn't happen with this one. I'm hoping there'll be some tickets available once they're officially released. But that unfortunately does happen quite a lot. BFI members get priority booking. So very often they sell out almost immediately, if you see what I mean. Yeah, but we'll see. I'm desperate to get tickets for this. I really, really want to go.
Yes, it would be awesome to get to go to this. Yes, I will heed your warning because I've had that experience myself twice, I think, when I've looked to book to go to an event at the BFI, and then you jump on, you're refreshing the page. You're on there a couple of minutes before they're due to go, and when it does go live, there just aren't any tickets left because all the BFI members have snapped them up, which is fair game, I suppose. That's what you pay your membership for.
Yeah,
is to get early priority booking stuff. So, can't complain to those guys, but it would just be nice if there were a few left over. So, if you do want to go, then take Adam's advice. Be on the website, ready and waiting, because they will go very quick.
Yes, they will. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's going to be a really good event.
I think it's going to be very, very cool. And I'm really looking forward to how because the trailer that we've seen for the animation on this just looks fantastic.
It does, yeah.
Yes, and interestingly enough, the story, the synopsis for the story is the TARDIS lands on the planet Vulcan.
Vulcan, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, that bloody Gene Roddenberry.
Trek all ties in with the 50th.
Do you know what?
For Star Trek.
It's just another reason why I can't stand flipping Trekkies.
Careful now. Don't forget, Lou listens to this. Our friend Loopy Lou, she won't be happy with you saying things like that.
Trekkie, Trekkers, Trekkie.
I'm a bit of a Trekkie. I like the original.
I know you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, actually, I must just quickly tell you this as well. You know how I won't let anyone touch any of my stuff, my Doctor Who stuff. I went to a birthday party at the weekend, and the guy whose party it was is a massive Trekkie, and he'd got all these Star Trek Enterprise models in a cabinet, like all lined up. There must have been about 50 of them. Wow. And I was like, wow, these are brilliant. Oh, I love it. Anyway, you know what's coming, don't you? As the night went on, all his mates were getting drunk, and because I only really know him and his girlfriend, so I didn't really know anyone else. They were getting drunk, and then the cabinet was open, and the ship stuck, and he was like, knew exactly what he was thinking. I could see the fear in his face. And I was thinking, if that was me now, I'd be like, shut that cabinet door. But no, he was much politer than I would have been. And yes, they got dropped, and one of them got bent, and I was like, oh my God. And I said to the next day, I said, I think I was the only person in the room that could relate to what was going through your head when that cabinet door opened. Poor old Adam. That's another Adam, not me. I'm not talking to myself.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, but a fantastic array of Star Trek ships, and yeah, that's the problem. Never let anyone near your stuff. That's why I don't do it.
I tell you what, mate, if that was me, that party would have been over that instant.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, all of you, get out.
Oh, you should have seen it. One of them, it sort of fell off the shelf, but they tried to shut the cabinet to stop it falling, so it just got trapped in between the door and the cabinet. Oh, crikey. I tell you, I was like, no. Anyway, you haven't got sympathy for him because he's a Trekkie.
No, but I do sympathise with, any collectors that have their stuff mangled and dropped and everything. That's no good.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
No good. So anyway, BFI event.
Yeah.
When is this taking place, by the way? Because the tickets go on sale on the 4th of October, but when's the actual event? Do we know?
Remember, the 5th of November.
Is it?
That's what. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I'm not looking at the website. I just seem to remember thinking it was the 5th of November. I need to check that now. Yes, no. Is it? I'm not sure now. I'm pretty sure it's 5th of November because I remember thinking bomb night. So, and I think, isn't that when it originally aired as well? Isn't that what they're doing to tie in with 50 years since it aired?
Oh, could be, yeah.
Yeah, 5th of November it is. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So that's nice and easy to remember.
Coolio. Right, should we get the... I can hear Daleks tapping on the window.
Yeah, go on then, get him in.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
one bit of merch. So the volume 1 of this has been out for a little while now. Do you want to tell us what it's called, Adam?
Volume 1. It's crumbling old. No, what was it? Really old doctors and slightly new monsters.
That's the one. So a volume 2 has been announced.
Yeah,
which is very good because I quite like the volume 1 box set. I think there's something about it that's very unique and very good. And a couple of stories weren't setting the world on fire in terms of Big Finish. However, it's a very good box set overall, I would say.
Overall, yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah. So a new series has been announced, which is up for pre-order on the Big Finish website. Nothing too crazy at the moment. It's just called Classic Doctors New Monsters Volume 2. Date is to be announced. If you want the CD, it's 23 quid. Or if you just want the digital edition, it's 20 quid.
That's right. They've upped their prices, haven't they? A little bit. Mm-hmm. Used to be 20 quid, but then I guess that's to be expected over time, isn't it?
Yes.
Really, it's not a massive jump up, is it?
No, not really. But
no.
Yes, I'm looking forward to this one. So it's a brand new box set of 4 adventures, and one of those monsters is the Rachnos.
Ah, yes, who we saw in the Runaway Bride, that big spidery like woman.
Correct.
Thing. Yeah, she was good, wasn't she?
She was very good.
Very scary, yeah.
Yeah, that was in that. Is that the one where Donna Noble, she marries, what's his name?
Yeah, Runaway Bride.
Runaway Bride, yes, of course. The Christmas one.
Yeah.
Was it Christmas one? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Anyway, yeah, so the Rachnos will feature in Volume 2.
It's got Donna's... No, not Donna. It's got Martha's mum in it, isn't it? Don't know what her name is, but I saw her in the promo picture for this.
Yes,
I was thinking, I don't know if she's going to play the Rachnos, but did see her in a promo pic from Big Finish to do with this. So perhaps she's the Rachnos.
Perhaps,
unless she's coming back as Martha's mum for some bizarre reason, which I wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah, maybe.
But we'll get on to her and her performance later.
Later, yes. So that's the only story that's been announced so far, and it just says 3 further story details to be announced.
Yeah.
Anyway, Volume 2 next year. I'm assuming it's next year anyway.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 2017. Yeah. Gosh, it's always scary when you read dates like that and you're thinking, oh, it's ages away. And then before you know it, you're there with the box set and you're thinking, oh, remember when this was announced? Scary.
Right, our review episode this week is, Mr. Adam?
I'm 72. No, it's not the Elephant Man. It's the Lazarus Experiment.
Tonight, I'm going to perform a miracle. Something's wrong. I am 76 years old, and I am reborn!
This is a friend of mine.
Lovely to meet you, Mrs. Jones.
Tish!
You people are in serious danger! You need to get out of here right now! No, get away from her! There's one more!
Those Next Time trailers, they always... It's all
sounds
action.
so exciting.
Yeah.
Tennant having to shout his mouth off.
Yes.
Probably quite difficult having to do that Mockney accent 24/7. I have to give him a, pat on the shoulder for keeping that up all the time. Because it's one thing doing an accent, it's another being able to scream and shout and keep that accent. And
yeah, I think it comes quite naturally to him,
Do you think?
Yeah, because if you've ever seen, you obviously have, but any listeners have seen any of the BBC Confidential and Doctor Who Confidential and behind the scenes and stuff of any of the Tennant, between takes when the cameras aren't rolling, he's just immediately back to his own Scottish accent and then as soon as they say action, that's it. He switches it on, and you wouldn't know the difference. I think some actors do struggle. I know of a couple of movies where people have done accents and they have to keep the accent up, all the time, otherwise they just lose it. But I think he just turns it. I think he can just turn it on and off. It's quite annoying, really, how talented he is.
Damn talented man. Yes.
Right, The Lazarus Experiment. This was out in 2007. nearly 10 years ago.
Oh.
It was written by Stephen Greenhorn, directed by Richard Clarke.
Stephen Greenhorn?
Greenhorn, yeah. And was produced by all the Norm at that time. So RTD, Julie Gardner, Phil Collinson, all those guys. And it's
great guys.
Yeah. And it's from Series 3. Episode 6, in fact. Martha Jones is in tow. And story is thus... the Doctor is dropping Martha home, much to her sadness, because it was always sort of a verbal agreement that they were just going on a adventure, a trip, as in singular, and he was going to drop her home, which he does. She's quite sad, but because the Doctor is intrigued by an advert that they've just seen on the TV, or a news report, should I say, he immediately comes back, picks Martha up, and off they go to see what Dr. Lazarus, or Professor Lazarus, is up to. And it turns out he's invented a machine that can rewind you back to your youth. Basically turns you into a younger person, but there's a complication where he gets some sort of strange DNA mutation that turns him into a horrible beastie that starts sucking the life and soul out of people, much like a spider would do. And it's up to the Doctor and Martha and her annoying family to save the day. So that's pretty much the story.
Yeah. Her annoying family.
Yeah, that's pretty much a story. What do you reckon to this one overall, Mr. Adam?
Yeah, it's an okay watch. I don't think it's dated particularly well. I have to be honest. I was watching it and it was a bit. I think it's a bit of a filler, actually, isn't it? It's one of those stories that just hasn't really got any consequence. You can almost tell what's coming, really. Yeah, like you said, it gives Martha's family a bit more fleshing out, not for the better. And yeah, it's got this monster in it that looks dreadful. So yeah, it's I don't know, it's an easy enough watch. It's there's a lot worse out there. There's certainly a lot better, but it's just all right. I think it's just middle of the road. Yeah. I did give it another watch because I don't remember thinking it was good or bad. You know, when I first watched it, I remember thinking, yeah, it's all right. I like the concept of the aging thing. I thought that's quite interesting because that's something we'd all love to do, isn't it? Is be able to, you know, go back and be young again. Mm-hmm. So I like that idea. I also thought that was quite an interesting thing to have in Doctor Who. So yeah, gave it a rewatch Monday, and yeah, my thoughts are just the same, really. Not bad, not great. Yeah. What about you?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't really know.
I don't really know. It's okay. It's not a bad watch. It's okay.
It's not a bad watch, is it?
It's certainly not up there with any of Tennant's best episodes by a long shot. And it does miss the mark a wee bit with certain things. So the overall storyline is incredibly predictable.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's one of those stories where you know the ending sort of 10 minutes in.
We sort of get two endings as well, don't we? It's sort of, that's one thing I always thought with this. It sort of finishes, you think it's all over, and then, oh my God, it all kicks off again.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's like an encore. So it's very predictable. The main villain, Professor Lazarus, is a bit of just a very non-interesting character, because we have literally no backstory to these people at all, really. No. We have a little conversation between him and Lady Thor, Mavis, as we'll call her, so everyone knows who we're talking about. So we have a conversation where it's, you know, they have like a sort of heart to heart, you know, but that's it. You know, we have no real backstory. You know, this is not like a Dr. Freeze from Batman thing where we know exactly why, you know, these sort of crazy experiments are going on and all that stuff. It's just, I've invented this machine and I'm going to throw myself into it. And then when he actually starts turning into the monster, you know immediately that, you know that a couple more people are going to die and then he's going to get finished off and that's it. So it's okay. I mean, David Tennant's pretty good in it.
Yeah, he's pretty on the ball. Yes,
he's pretty good. And Martha's okay. Martha's okay in it. And that's it. The rest of it just sort of plods along. I would say, it's.
You're saying about no backstory. What is the thing with Lazarus? Keeps banging on about the cathedral and staring across the rooftops and stuff. I think do they try and give him a? Because I must admit I probably should have been paying more attention, but he sort of keeps talking about when I was a boy or something. And is there some connection to that cathedral?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
Really.
Maybe I just read into that. There was just a couple of scenes where because he's got a big model of it on his desk as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think the only thing with the cathedral is that's where, he was inside the cathedral or he was near it when the Blitz was going on in the war.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
So yeah, but that's about it. So we don't really know. There wasn't any real proper motive in place for this character for me. It was,
he's just an unlikable lech, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, like Tish, Martha's sister's working for him as some sort of secretary or PA or something, isn't she? And he's, keeps sort of flirting with her, and she wants none of it. Mm-hmm. She's not interested until he turns young, which we'll come on to later because that was something I just didn't get at all. But he's a bit of a lecherous old fool, isn't he? Mm-hmm. And is he supposed to be married to? I don't really know, Mavis or whatever her name is. Is he Mrs. What's her name? Are they married or are they just?
I don't think they're married. I think they are. Oh. I think they're like business partners in this thing.
Because he drops her like a stone once he's got his looks back.
Yeah, I think.
They have that kiss, don't they?
So I think they're partners in whatever they're doing, but they're obviously more. While they were both old, I think they had more of a romantic relationship, companionship, if you like. Yeah. But he does drop her like a bad smell. Soon as he's back in his early 30s, and she's like, I don't know how old she is in it. She looks like she's in her 70s.
Yeah, typical 70s.
Man. You men. Yeah. Yes. So overall, it's okay. It's really not one of those episodes that appears on any top 10 lists or anything like that.
It's not one you reach for, is it? When you get the box out, it's not one.
No.
Especially when you mentioned some of the other ones that you watched after. Which I won't say too much about because some we haven't reviewed. But if we reviewed 42, I was going to ask you that earlier, because we do lose track because we chat off air about stuff. We often think we've reviewed stuff we haven't, but I'm pretty sure we reviewed 42 quite favourably, which was one that at the time I didn't think was that great, but I think actually now is better than I thought. But this one, it's not one you reach for particularly, I don't think, when you get Series 3 out. Yeah,
42 we did review pretty well, 7.5 each.
Yeah, it's not brilliant, but it's good. Mm-hmm. A lot better than this one, I would say, yeah.
Yeah. Okie dokie. So story-wise, it's like I said, it's fairly predictable. There's nothing in here that's enlightening in any way. It's not part of a big story arc, other than when they mention Saxon towards the end.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, it's not. There's nothing too crazy going on. It's fairly simple. This guy's just invented a machine to make people younger again, pretty much. The only thing is, it's obviously not tested fully because the thing nearly tears a hole in London, and the doctor sort of stops for some huge explosion that will blow the building up and all that lot. And as a result, his DNA just gets shot to bits, which results in the mutation. So that's pretty much it in terms of story. It's just revolves around that, really. Once the Doctor and Martha get into the offices where they're doing this presentation, this evening meal thing and stuff, it all happens there, and then just in the cathedral next door. So
it's a lot of running around, isn't it? I mean, once the creature's out of its shell, pretty much the rest of the episode is it chasing people and
it's cat and
explosions.
Mouse, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cat and mouse. Yeah.
Rightio. So what do you reckon to this in terms of how it looks, directed, sound, all that stuff?
Well, I think it looks very dated. I think it didn't look that the monster never looked that great then. Actually, the CGI on it is probably one of those that look really good when on paper, like the design of it with this Is it supposed to be Gatiss' face on the front? I've never quite worked out because it doesn't look like him.
It looks nothing like him, does it?
No, but the creature's kind of got a human face with a sort of, what would you call it, like an insect,
it's like
giant
a scorpion, sort of spidery body.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting design, but it doesn't look particularly good. I don't think it looked good when it went out. It's always looked a bit dated. The CGI is just a bit naff, I think. Doesn't look that great. It's not frightening, let's put it that way. Like when it's chasing them, you don't sort of, it's not like Alien, is it, where you're like, oh god, hope that doesn't catch them. With this, you just kind of, it's almost, you're not really scared by it. Sound wise, I have to say I thought the music, and I don't know, I have got this on Blu-ray, but bizarrely I watched it on DVD just because it was downstairs. So I found the music so overbearing in this. And I don't know if that's been slightly fixed on the Blu-ray version, because I know they did improve the sound mix, but it wasn't just the fact it was so loud. There's just so much of it in there. This is one of the things with Mara's music during this sort of era of Doctor Who, is that they seem to fill every single scene with loads of music when it didn't always need it, so sound wise I thought that was a bit overbearing. There are bits where I can't hear what the Doctor's saying actually during the chasing.
I'm glad you said that, because that's one thing that I wrote in my notes is I found this thing that I have to do annoyingly on certain films and TV programs where they haven't got the mix correct, where I have to turn it up loads to hear what they're saying. But then when there's any action happening on screen, or any, especially with music as well, it's just like thundering through the house. I have to turn it down. I have to turn it back up again when they're talking. So the mix isn't very good at all. I don't know what it's like on the Blu-ray, but the mix is not good. I
almost wish I'd got the Blu-ray out so I could tell you, but no, it was certainly a bit annoying on the DVD. Overall, again, not that great. I thought the script was a bit lackluster as well. I mean, Stephen Greenhorn, I've just had a look. He also wrote The Doctor's Daughter. I thought I recognised the name when you said it, so I thought I'd have a quick look and see what other Doctor Who he's done. So he wrote the Doctor's Daughter, which kind of fits in with this, because they're both stories that just kind of plod along. They've got a bit of potential, but never really reach it, I think. So, but the script, it's just not, like you said, it's very, very predictable. It's quite clunky. I mean, like when the Doctor saves the machine from blowing up, we sort of cut, Matey walks out all young again, and then the next thing we know, they're carrying on the party, and it just doesn't really feel like that would happen. The one minute they're going to arrest the Doctor, the next thing he's just eating a canapé from the table, and it's all fine. And I saved you, by the way. Yeah, thanks. It seemed a little bit lazy in terms of writing. What episode in series 3 is this, by the way? Did you say
6? Episode 6.
Oh, right, okay. Because I was thrown off by the fact that Martha was being brought home at the beginning. Because I haven't watched these for quite a while. So when it starts with him bringing her back and saying, well, we said one trip and and he was dumping her, I was like, oh, poor old Martha, what's going on here? Like, I don't remember all that. It was an interesting way to start the episode. It's a bit silly, the Doctor taking off and then coming. It makes for sort of quite a funny moment when he sort of comes back and says, sorry, what? No, I can't leave. What did he say? It's quite an amusing little moment, but a bit silly.
It's I mean, I found it quite funny. It was quite cool, the way that he disappears off. And that's one of the things that did look pretty good, was the TARDIS dematerialization and materialization in her front room. And like the real big sort of gush of wind, that looks all pretty good, and I like that the Doctor just pokes his head back through the door and doesn't say anything, about, actually, do you want to come, for another trip or whatever? He's just like, he sort of makes a funny reference to the news report he's just seen, hasn't he? He said, I'm sorry, this guy's going to change human history for what, or something.
It's like a delayed reaction to it. Like, I'm going to ignore it, but actually, no, I can't ignore it. It's a very, the thing about it's a very Tennant-y Doctor thing to do that, which is why I think I quite liked it. I can forgive it. Why is he dumping Martha though? See, I've forgotten all this storyline. What's going on with Martha? Is because normally he's begging the assistant to go with him, but with Martha he doesn't seem to want her around. And what's the deal with that? Like, why is he trying to get rid of her?
Well, I think the reason why is because previous...
Is it because he lost Rose?
Yes, so previous to this, we know when he first meets Martha, he basically says, Yeah, he's a bit cut up, isn't he? Because he's lost Rose and everything. He wants to.
Right.
He doesn't want to get attached. To anyone for a while.
Yeah.
And she, they basically they have a very casual agreement, like we're going to go away for just one trip. So that's their sort of prenup, if you like. It's they're going to go away for, and obviously it turns into more than that at this point. They've been away. They've done the whole Shakespeare thing and the Daleks of Manhattan story. So they've gone off and done all like the big stuff. But in terms of Martha's viewpoint, they've done all this stuff, but the people around her, the way that the Doctor's done it is like they'll only think you've been away for one night.
Yeah.
So this is like, you've been away for one night, we've had fun, journey's over, off you go. But yeah.
That was quite a funny little bit, actually. That did make me smile when Martha's mum was saying, because obviously, like you said, it's supposed to have been one night, and she was like, "What were you doing last night?" And he's like, "Well, we were just doing stuff."
Yeah, that was awesome.
She was like, "What?" It's just a fake. That was quite a funny little moment. Yeah, there's a couple of little bits in it like that. Bizarrely, actually, I think the best bit of this episode is probably those last 5 or 10 minutes in the church. I think don't know why. I think it just works better. Maybe it's because you change of scenery and it's quite gothic-y being inside that cathedral. Yeah. That bit I thought worked quite well. It's great seeing the Doctor playing that giant what do you call the organ? Church organ. Sticking the sonic in, turning it out to 11. That was quite nice, actually. So yeah, I thought the last sort of 10 minutes were quite good fun. Again, it's just more chasing around, but it had a bit more to it, I thought. So yeah.
And direction wise, it's
I didn't think the direction was that good, actually.
Yeah, well, I was going to get your opinion on that because there's quite a lot of action going on and there's a lot of cat and mouse, like we say in this. It could have been, they could have really, but you never know in terms of how much time they've got and budget and stuff. But it could have been like a real cinematic style episode. Some of the stuff that we'd seen more in the Matt Smith era. Where it looks like you're going, it looks like it would fit quite suitably in a cinema, seeing some of those episodes. It could have been, that on that level, but yeah, it ended up just being quite standard, quite
a bit static.
A bit static, yeah. Because it all revolves around just a couple of locations and that's it. Once you're out of Martha's flat or house, wherever she lives, we cut to them, outside this really cool building. I'm sure it is in Wales somewhere, where they're going to this presentation, and it all happens in there apart from the last, like you say, 10 minutes we're in the cathedral, and that's your lot. So it could have been awesome. We could have had this monster tearing through the streets of London. It could have been and all sorts of stuff, but it felt too contained and it felt too static, like you say.
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah, maybe that's why I like the last 10 minutes, because we get a change of scenery. That would have been great, actually, to have that thing running through London. Like you said, probably a budgetary thing, maybe. Because, there definitely was a bit more potential with that. I'm just looking to see. The director was Richard Clarke, and he's directed a couple of Life on Mars episodes. I really like Life on Mars. He also directed Gridlock, which I know you really like. He directed The Doctor's Wife and Night Terrors, which I think is one of the worst directed stories. So, a bit hit or miss old Richard Clarke. But, you're right. I think he could have done a lot more. There's a good shot when the Doctor looks up and sees the creature above him, which again is quite sort of reminiscent of Alien, which is quite a nice moment. But apart from that, it's not a lot else I can say positively about the direction of this.
It is a bit flat, considering the story.
I'm not sure which. I think it's probably 50-50. It's in terms of whose fault it is. He hasn't got a great deal to work with anyway, so I'm not putting it all at Richard Clarke's feet, but I think it could have been a bit better.
And in some of it's weird because we mentioned the CG for the monster Lazarus. I actually thought the CG when he's inside the Lazarus machine, whatever it's called, when it's like the blue lightning and it's like whizzing around, I thought that looked quite good.
That's strange you say that, because I did as well, and I weirdly thought in my head, I wonder, because it's one of those sort of little geeky things that I picked up on, and I did wonder if you'd be thinking the same. So I'm quite pleased that you said that, because I thought that as well. I thought, that CGI is pretty good when the machine's kicking off, and you got all the lightning going around. I thought that looks pretty decent. Yeah.
It's definitely an episode of ups and downs in terms of the effects, because that looked really good. Because even when you see it as a set, so they actually built that big machine, the big capsule thing. They built it, didn't they, physically, and it looks really good, even just physically. And when they obviously add the effect of it spinning around and the lightning stuff, it all looks really good. But then even something simple like when it's just Lazarus and Tish just up on the roof looking across London, where they're clearly standing on, in a green screen environment, it looks dreadful. And those little things you would expect them to get right. But then again, it's hard to come down too hard, because you think to yourself, well, we weren't involved in the production. It could have been a case of, right, we've got 5 minutes, and one take to do this scene, and it's going to be a quick and dirty, quick action, right, now we're off. It could have been that, we don't know. Because famously, Doctor Who has never had, a huge budget for its production. And I think based on, we're not sure if it was like it at this point, but certainly based off Chris Eccleston's interview that we heard a couple of weeks ago, he did actually say that production was a bit of a disaster
on Series 1.
Series 1. So we're not sure how far that's evolved at this point in Series 3. So it could have been, we just haven't got the time to spend to make it look amazing. It's just going to have to get it done, But it is frustrating a little bit, because you have some really good effects in one scene, and then you have really bad effects, which should be really good because it's just a simple, plop them on a rooftop with London in the background. But it looks really bad. You can see the outline. They're not, the perspective isn't quite correct with the roof and how they're standing, and it looks a bit fuzzy. I don't know.
There's a terrible shot of the cathedral, actually, which looks dreadful. Like I said, should be sort of fairly straightforward thing to do, but it could be timing. Could just be that they thought, it's on screen for seconds. Don't worry about it. I don't know, but I know what you mean. What did you think about the actual monster, though? The CGI of the monster?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the design for a start.
Oh, okay. Right.
And I thought the CG was.
What is it about it, though? Because I can't put my finger on it. Is it because it hasn't got enough detail, or what? Because it just doesn't look. It looks sort of half finished, like it need. Like when you see behind the scenes programs and they're doing layers and layers and layers to make it look good and more. It just kind of looks like it's in the halfway stage of. Yeah. We've not quite finished doing it yet, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's it's got a couple of. I think what they've tried to do is create this real scary, just terrifying monster that, could no way, it could impossible to be, mutated from a human being. And one thing that they did get right, actually, is the sound effects when Lazarus is like, cricking his bones and all that stuff. That's all great. And I remember the first time that he mutates into the monster, I thought that was quite creepy. And I would imagine that the younger kids would have been a little bit scared at that point. But I think
that's good, because you see shadows, don't you? Like you see the back creaking, and that is done quite well, actually.
Yeah, that's not too bad. But the actual, when you see the monster close up, the two things, so the design for me, it just seems like they've just cobbled together designs from other fantasy or sci-fi monsters. If anyone's seen Stephen King's It, the monster at the end, this has got that written all over it.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah,
the big spider. The whatever his true form is. So it's like that, and they just cobble together like other sci-fi bits. It's got bits from Alien in there, with like the spinal bones running down the spinal column. But the main thing for me that I just can't get my head around is the facial features. It looks nothing like Stephen Gattis, so I can't see what
Mark Gatiss.
Stephen Gattis. It looks nothing like Mark Gatiss, so I can't see what they're trying to do there, whether it's just really bad CG that they tried to make it look like him but have failed, or they've just modelled, some random person's face or created a face, randomly. I don't know. So just give him a human head and that's it. They just sort of stopped there. They didn't continue and refine the features to look like Mark Gatiss. So it's disappointing. For sure. And it's good in a way. It's quite creepy. It's quite scary when we first see it. But once you've seen it, that's it. Once you see it for the rest of the show, it's just like, just a giant thing running around. It's not really That's scary. I mean, what is scary is the way it devours people. That was quite cool.
Yes, that's quite good. Yeah, actually, that is good when you see the sort of remains.
Yeah,
like the skeleton that you see, the aftermath of what it's doing. That's quite good, actually. I do like the bit where Martha sees the skeleton leg with the shoe on the end, and she's like, "Oh, Lady Thor's bad ending." So yeah, that's quite good.
Yeah, that's quite creepy, and it's a good sort of metaphor-ish thing, isn't it, in the story? So it's always like that age-old thing where if you're gonna mess around with the laws of nature, sort of thing, there's always a sort of a sacrifice that goes with it. So if you can. He's invented a machine that can turn back life, but like what goes hand in hand with that is, you're going to have to feed off people, in order to maintain that. So it's like a sort of, the age old, if you're going to mess with nature, you're going to get a kick back, you're going to get a kick in the head back, sort of thing.
It's consequences.
Yeah, consequences. Yeah. So that's cool. Yeah. So I like the fact that, it's almost, it reminded me of like vampire films and stories where bodies have been completely, sucked dry of all the flesh and blood, and it's just a massacred skeleton. So I thought that was quite good. Again, quite creepy.
Yeah, I agree with that. In some ways, I find Mark Gatiss or Professor Lazarus more frightening when he's in human form, I think, somehow. Because Gatiss is quite good at playing that creepy, slightly slimy character, isn't he? He does that quite well.
Yes.
So, although they've put him in this blonde wig, I still think he's probably more creepy when he's playing the sort of young Lazarus, because he's quite evil. Mm-hmm. Once he's got his looks back, he's all confident and cocky, and I found that was when he was actually most frightening, really. And like you said, when he starts doing all the contortion when the creature's coming through, he does that really well. I mean, it's quite sort of, you're sort of squirming at the screen at that point, I think. So yeah, that was quite good.
Yeah, it was good. Let's talk about some characters. There's not many in this one.
No, not really.
So we have, it's basically Martha's family and Lady Thor.
Yeah.
And a couple of like little tiny parts from the guests at the party. Lady Thor then, old Mavis. It's good to see her in something other than
is, because she's been in Corrie. Well, she was in Corrie for forever.
She was, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think she's okay, because I remember when this went out, and I wasn't watching Who at the time, but I remember when this went out and seeing her in the trailer and thinking to myself, what's her face from Corrie?
Mavis.
Yeah. What's she, because, she sort of ditched, ITV and gone over and done something on the B, but people might be able to correct me on this, but I've never seen her in anything other than Corrie.
No, I haven't either.
I'm not talking about like when she was a younger actress, maybe doing like, very early stuff when in black and white and stuff. But I've just never seen her in anything other than Corrie. And I remember thinking, wow, she's, fair play. At her age, she's still doing stuff. And I don't think she's too bad in this. I expected her to be a lot more sort of elderly and frail for some reason, but she's actually okay.
She's sort of playing a bit of an old battle axe, isn't she?
Yeah.
And I thought she was all right in it, actually. I thought she's because she's not playing a particularly likable character, and I think she sort of brings that across quite well. You do feel a little bit sorry for her when Lazarus points out how old she is and how he wouldn't look twice at her now.
Yes.
But you kind of think she deserves it because she's a bit of an old cow.
Yep.
But no, I thought she was fine in that. So I agree with you. I've never seen her in anything other than Corrie. So I just assumed very often with that sort of actor, you'll get the same performance.
Mm-hmm.
There's that sort of stereotypical actor. But I think, this is quite far removed from Mavis that she played in Corrie. So in that sense, I said she did a good job being this sort of old, miserable old, quite evil, really, isn't she? I mean, she's in on this plan with Lazarus. It's not all down to Lazarus. They're in it together. So, I thought she was quite good.
She gets a good old snog as well.
Oh,
which is hard to watch.
It is a bit.
I can imagine Mark was a bit like, have you brushed your teeth, girl? because I'm going in.
I've got a polo mint ready.
Go and neck this packet of polos. Because
I bet that was a one take.
Yes. Yeah.
Can we do it again? Sound wasn't right.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been hilarious. Yeah, Mark, come back. We need to do it. Mark. Oh, he's gone. We'll have to do with that one. But no, fair play to Thelma Piggott. He's still
Thelma
going.
Barlow. Making these names up. Who's Thelma Pickett?
Sorry, I think that's her original name.
I like that name.
Sorry.
Thelma Pickett.
Thelma Barlow. Let's use her married name, shall we? Thelma Barlow. She's still going. She's 87.
Yeah.
So fair play. She was pretty good. Right, Martha's family.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Now,
right then.
3 of them show up in this. So we've got Martha's mum.
Poor old Tennant.
Yeah, so we've got Martha's mum, Martha's sister, and her brother. So her mum, Francine, is her name, isn't it? Francine? Yep. Yeah. Leo, the brother. So Francine, played by Adjoa Ando, I think her name is Adjoa. Leo, her brother's played by Reggie Yates, who we know from plenty of
Top of the Pops.
CBBC stuff and radio and that. And Tish, played by, oh man.
Go on, go for it.
Guju Mabatha Raw.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that once and that'll do. So we've got 3 of them in the mix. Now, Leo, we can sort of get him out of the way early because he doesn't do anything really. He just shows up.
No, he does. Does he even get any lines?
He does. Yeah. He has a quick word with Martha when they first see each other at the party, and then at the end, after Francine has given the doctor a good old right hander, he actually says, "Well, this is he actually says to her, well, actually, to be fair, this was Tish's thing. He invited us all along, so technically it's her fault, because she's trying to blame, the doctor and, in extension, Martha. So he has a little line there, but otherwise I think he gets knocked out. He gets concussion at some point when the monster's charging through and he gets knocked on the head. So he's not too bad. Anything you want to say about Leo?
Well, yeah, there is actually, because he kind of he's in the background a lot of the time, isn't he? But like I said, doesn't really get anything to do or anything to say much. I always just thought, because you just said like Reggie Yates, he was a reasonably well known personality back then. He still is, but I mean, he was in more back then. I always thought he was a little bit underused, really, because I thought if you're going to get Reggie Yates in, give him something to do. At least give him a few more lines or do something with him, because I do feel a bit sorry for him. I just thought he's terribly underused. He's just literally stood in the background most of the time, making up the numbers of the family. Yep. I just always felt a bit sorry for Reggie. I think he could have been much more fleshed out. There could have been a lot more interaction between him and Martha, because his brother sister relation. You could have had a lot more going on there. So yeah, I just feel a bit sorry for Reggie. He does pop up now and again later on in this series, doesn't he? But again, he never gets anything to do. There's never any meat on the bone for him, from what I recall. Anyway, so yeah, I just feel a bit sorry for him. I think he could have been good, but just doesn't get anything to do.
Yeah, very small part. Yeah. Martha's sister, Tish
Jones.
Tish, yep.
Mm-mm.
She's a bit weird because she's working in the PR department for Lazarus. And her character and the actress who plays her, she's quite a young, very pretty actress. And there's a bit where Lazarus is like, come up to the roof, I want to show you something. And she's like, she's like a little schoolgirl, who's got like, who's just seen a heartthrob, in real life. That doesn't add up to me, that bit in the story, because the sort of, even when we see Lazarus as the younger Lazarus, no disrespect to Mark Gatiss, he's not like sort of eye candy.
No.
Typical eye candy that you would see, that you would expect someone, a character like Tish to go for. So when, he's gabbing away about, you know, the war and the cathedral. She's like, you know, fluttering her eyelids, and then when Martha says something, she's like, you know, I finally met someone, you know, to insinuate, you know, some sort of romantic thing there. You know, she fancies him. It's like, what?
Yeah.
How could, you know, this doesn't make sense at all.
No.
You know, so her character I can't really buy into, because it's, what do you reckon? Am I the only one that thinks that?
No, you're not at all. This is what I was alluding to earlier. I just couldn't quite believe that scene, because Tish starts off really good, I thought. She's strong. You know, there's that bit when he's old Lazarus and he's sort of leching all over her, and she tells him straight, you know, where to go. And I thought, oh, she's a good, you know, good strong character here, and she's on the ball. She knows what's going on and all that sort of stuff. So I thought she started off really good. I thought, oh, I'm liking Tish. You know, she's cool. And then as soon as he turns young, and like you said, let's face it, he's not exactly a heartthrob, she's all over him. And I thought, oh, what a shame. Because I was hoping she was just playing along to try and work out, you know, I thought it was, she was just putting it on to try and find out what was going on or be part of the team. So I was really disappointed when it turns out that she's not, that she actually is trying to snog him or whatever she says. I thought, oh, come on. Yeah. That's just like, where's that come from? And it just, like you said, it doesn't add up. Like the only thing, unless they're trying to insinuate that Tish fancies him because of, you know, like the power and what he's done, in which case that's a real disservice to Tish, because that just makes her really shallow, and that's not the character we get in the first 10 minutes. So yeah, that didn't add up to me at all. I didn't like it. I really didn't like any of that stuff on the rooftop, and her telling Martha off, you know, for ruining her chances with Lazarus. I was like, what a load of rubbish.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I thought it was really bad writing. Yeah, didn't like that at all.
Yeah, so
and I felt sorry for Tish.
Yes.
She could have been really good, I thought.
Yeah, so she was all right in the first half, but then she sort of goes downhill, and she's not too bad at the end, because she does lend a hand in bringing down the monster.
True. Yeah, so
you know, she sort of redeems her character a little bit, but that, you know, the bit just before that where she's all over him, not all over him like, you know, physically, but, you know, she can see, you know, Mrs. Lazarus, you know, on the cards. That just doesn't, you know.
No.
You missed what was going on there, Mr. Greenhorn. I think you misjudged some characters there.
It's it just seems so put in. I didn't get it.
Yeah. Right, Francine, Martha's mum.
The mum.
Potentially one of the most annoying characters since 2005.
She's so annoying.
I can't tell you how much I was just. I don't generally talk to the TV.
I'm laughing because I just had to get a picture up of her face, because I just knew it'd make me laugh, and it did. She's just got that face, isn't she? Where she's just so miserable in it. Oh
yeah, she takes. She's just a miserable old bat. That's the only thing that you can sum up from her character throughout, because she's in about 4 or 5 episodes, isn't she? In Who?
Yeah.
Overall, and every episode is the same.
She instantly hates the Doctor as well, doesn't she?
Yep. She's just, I mean, you can tell that her character is like, you know, she's very bitter, because I think her husband ran off with some younger woman. So she's a bit bitter, you know, and they're sort of getting into her. She's not old, but as she's getting older, she's like, you know, you see that classic old.
I thought he died? I can't remember what the story. I thought he died. Her husband.
No,
like he died in real life, didn't he? Or am I getting mixed up?
I don't know. But in character, you know, within the show, because there's that first episode where he brings her along to some family meal.
Yeah,
you know, the new girlfriend, and you know they end up fighting and stuff. So she's sort of bitter about that, you know, because you know, as a married woman, you know, the husband's run off with a newer model, younger model. And she's clearly got no sort of happy bone in her body, really, because everything that Martha says to her that she's done or is going to do, she's got this bloody miserable face on her all the time, and she gives the Doctor a good shot. You know, where did that come from?
Oh, she does give him a good whack around the chops, doesn't she?
It's like, I mean, you can. some of it it's like, this is like typical mum stuff. If you're worried about your kids or whatever, then naturally you're very protective, and you don't want your daughter sort of running off with some man that she's only just met, and by his own admission, they've done stuff which immediately sounds very dodgy to Mrs.
that was
Mum.
quite a fun scene.
Yeah, so you can tell from a certain point of view, but however, she's so. I know you can forgive if she was like it in an episode, because if we look at Jackie, she was like that to begin with, but she's got a sense of humour that goes with it, and she's got a bit more of a sort of a London rock running through her. So she just bites, she just gets on with it. She realises what Rose is doing. She accepts it, even though she's not 100% happy, but she just gets on with it and she has a laugh. Whereas Martha's mum, it's like, frickin' hell.
She is one of those that you'd be having a fun time. She'd turn up with that face and you'd be like, oh no, look out. Yeah.
It's like
fun's
that,
over,
isn't it?
guys. Fun's over. Yeah, I think that's the thing. If they'd have made her a little bit more likeable, fun's over. Mum's here. If they'd have made her a little bit more likeable, like fleshed her out a bit. But yeah, she's just so sour.
It's exactly that, mate, that I was just thinking. It's like I can just imagine like they're all round eating pizza, watching a film, a few beers, and then in comes Mum and everyone's like, oh Christ. Mum's turned up, the unhappiness patrols here.
Yeah.
Party's over. See you later. But yes, very annoying character because she's so miserable.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. And we get this thing about Saxon, don't we? Which is, it doesn't because this is a very standalone story. It hasn't, like I said, it's quite inconsequential. It wouldn't matter if it wasn't there, but we do get this thing of this mystery man warning, Martha's mum about the doctor, which at the time I remember thinking was great. I really liked that. I mean, we all know what it's about now, so all that mystery's gone. But the very first time I watched this, I remember thinking, oh, that's good, isn't it? What's going on here? Somebody's warning her about the doctor, and where's this going? So, yeah, I liked it at the time, but as I said, all that mystery's gone now. So, but that's the only other sort of positive thing I can say, really, is that, that's a good little story arc, if you like, with Saxon and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But she's not written particularly well. The actress is okay. She just doesn't come across as very likable. Like you said, Jackie, she's got the feistiness, which I think, they're trying to bring here, but she's also quite likable at the same time, which we don't get with Martha's mum, I don't think.
Yeah, I read you.
Mm.
Yeah. Right, Martha. I thought she's not too bad in it, actually.
I like Martha. Now, I wanted to ask you, actually, because Martha, she seems to get a lot of stick. I don't understand it, because I've always liked Martha as a companion, and I've always liked Freeman Agyeman. Is that how you say it?
I think so.
So I don't really get why Martha gets such a hard time from some quarters, let's put it that way, because I think she's feisty. I think her acting's pretty good most of the time. I think she's a good companion to the doctor. I know she's kind of in love with him, but we don't really get all that lovey-dovey stuff like we did with Rose, because the doctor doesn't respond to it. So it's a kind of unrequited love. So I actually like Martha. I thought she was a good companion. I think she's good in this. She pretty much holds her own, doesn't she? She gets stuck in and does her bit. And I think she's good in this story. I mean, there are some stories where she's perhaps not so good, but yeah, she's fine in this, and I like the character, so I don't have a problem with Martha. Yes,
I agree. I think she does get a fair amount of stick. Bearing in mind, it's hard because there are so many fans of Rose. She's viewed as she's a really popular companion still.
Yeah.
And when you follow up with, it's not a massively difficult task, to follow up on, to fill those shoes. But it was a hard task, I would say, because everybody really bought into Rose. and the character and the involvement with the Doctor and that huge, really sad ending. You know, that was a real emotional roller coaster. And when you finish everything up like that, and then Rose is gone, the next companion's always going to struggle. So
true.
Yeah, so I think Freema, there was a certain amount of expectation on her to not be the next Rose, but to be an equally, good companion.
Yeah, big shoes to fill, I guess. Yeah, I'm with you.
And I think she does a good job. I really like Martha as a character. I think she's a really good companion. No complaints really, but the thing that I find with it, I think that there are chunks throughout each episode, but I just find that Freema's just not. She's not the best actress at times. That's for me the thing. And that's not to say that she's bad, because she's not. Because if she was that bad, she wouldn't have been cast, as the main lead. So she's not bad. It's just there are times where I just think, I would just like to have seen her let go a bit more, and cut loose a bit more as an actress, because there are moments where she does have a little bit of a shout, and stuff like that, but it just doesn't feel like she's 100% letting go and you're giving her all into the character. I think she's quite, I mean, maybe that's her character, because she's a doctor and she's quite, formal and conservative. She's not like a bit of a loose cannon like Rose was, such of a, bad, sort of, not bad girl persona, but you know where I'm going. She's a very different person to Rose, but.
Did she only do one? She only got one series, didn't she? Because I suppose maybe she just was finding her feet a bit. Because I suppose if you get onto a second series, you kind of know where your character's going a bit. Whereas this one, perhaps she's just, don't know. She's obviously trying not to be like Rose Mark II. She's trying to be her own character. But yeah, perhaps she's just trying to find her feet. She doesn't do another series, does she? I've forgotten now.
No, she just comes back for a couple of specials.
That's right. She sort of pops up now and again, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I mean, I know what you mean. There are some bits where she's, could have been better. But again, I think, Freema was quite, just finding her feet basically, and quite early on in the series and stuff. But there are other scenes that stick in my mind where I think she's fantastic. I absolutely love her leaving scene where she says to Doctor, my friend always says, so what is it about not giving up or something? Or if they don't feel the same way, I don't know. She makes this speech to Doctor before she leaves, which I always think is a great performance, and I love the dialogue as well. Although I can't remember any of it typically, and I think she's great in Human Nature, Family of the Blood when she's playing the sort of maid. And
the maid,
actually, she's superb in that episode. So I've always quite liked Martha as a companion. I've never quite understood why she gets so much stick from some fans. So maybe not the story. This isn't the story where she shines. Definitely not.
No.
But I think she's still good in it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she gets a lot of stick in, like, people are being nasty or horrible to her as an actress or anything like that. I think she just gets overlooked quite a lot.
Overlooked, yeah.
Anyway, in this particular episode, she's pretty good.
Yeah,
she's okay.
She's fine.
Yeah. And Mr. Tennant then.
Mr. Tennant, so he's it's his third series as well, isn't it now?
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Second.
Yeah, well, I think Tennant's very comfortable in the role at this point. He certainly seems to be very at ease playing the Doctor, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Not his strongest story, but then nothing to do with his performance, more the fact of the script itself. So yeah, fine. Good, another good performance from Tennant. I think he does well with what he's given, actually. Definitely shines at the end with all the stuff in the organ playing and the Sonic and all that stuff. So yeah, he's really good. And Tennant in a tux, he suits a tux.
He does, yeah.
Although I love the blue suit at the beginning, I'm always a little bit sad that I love that blue suit. But yeah, no, Tennant, perfectly good.
Yeah. It's interesting. One of the things that I've noticed about all our reviews is that we talk about the Doctor the least.
Yeah.
Out of all of the, everything, when we talk about the episode in general and all the direction and effects and stuff, and then we go through the cast members, we always talk about the Doctor the least amount of time, which is interesting, isn't it? Seeing as we're a Doctor Who podcast.
Yeah, I think it's because they're generally quite consistent. I mean, unless you get a particularly bad story, you know, or the Doctor. I mean, the Doctor's always, I think, it goes by, you know, with someone like the 10th Doctor, he's a great Doctor, so he tends to be pretty consistent. It's normally more the story, if anything, you know. Not even when you get a bad story, the Doctor's normally quite good in it. But there will be the odd exception. I'm thinking, I mean, Tom Baker's one of my favourite Doctors, and I would say he's very consistent in terms of being fantastic. But I know that when we get on to, say, the Key to Time era, then we're going to be perhaps talking about him a little bit more, because he does give a different performance. But then again, he was in the show for, you know, 7-8 years, whatever it was, so it's bound to change. So, but with someone like Tennant, I think they are generally quite consistent, so there isn't that much to say. Yeah, you know, apart from they're good. Yeah,
I would say pretty much the same thing about Tennant. He's doing what he normally does, playing the Doctor very well. He's got a couple of funny moments when he's being quizzed by Martha's mum. It's very funny. He doesn't know what to say. That's good. Yeah, you know, that's cool. Yeah. At the end, when he says
reverse polarity.
Oh yes, yeah, a little pertwee nod there.
Nice little nod. Yeah.
Yeah, he said it's obviously been too long, or I'm out of practice. Sorry. Yeah, I'm obviously out of practice. Yeah. That's a nice little nod there. And then at the end, when he gets a slap off Martha's mum, he's just sort of, he's not fazed by it really. He just sort of hold his hands. He's like, why is it always mums? Always mums.
Yeah.
You know? So he has a couple of funny moments, and then he has his usual sort of great Tennant way of being very shouty and lots of running and all that stuff, which is great in the Tennant era. So yeah, just a consistent performance from him. Really, he wasn't none of those big sort of iconic speeches in this one. Didn't really call for it, and there was nothing bad. So an overall good performance.
I just realised we've missed out Mark Gatiss, and we talked a little bit about him, but yeah, we should just say, what do you think of him in this? Because obviously he's more known as a writer of Doctor Who, so it's quite interesting to see him crop up actually playing the bad guy in this.
Yeah, that's because we'd spoke about him already. I thought, you know, I missed him off, but yeah, it's interesting because he normally, like you said, is behind the scenes. So it's quite interesting that he would put himself forward, or if he was offered to do it, he sort of, you know, he did it, because his acting chops for me can be very good. However, in this, I thought he was all right. I found him quite creepy. I think, like you said earlier, when he's in his younger form and he's, you know, he's sort of leching over people and he's a bit, you know, there's that sort of sinister vibe going on, which is good. But yeah, overall, he's just okay. You know, he's not bad.
It's not outstanding. Yeah, well, I gotta say, what do you think of the makeup when he's the old guy? Do you think the makeup's quite good? Yeah,
brilliant makeup.
Yeah? When he's doing the almost like the Elephant Man voices, and he's like, "I'm going to perform a miracle."
Yeah, that's interesting. Why he did that? Because I don't know how old he's meant to be when he's old.
Doesn't he say 76 or
is it
something
76?
like that?
Is it? Okay,
I think so. I'm 76. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, because he turns from being really sort of overly old school British, you know, posh voice into just being like a normal, you know, it doesn't really sound like that. So I don't know. It's okay. I mean, the makeup's amazing. Like, you know, how they made him look as an old person.
Does look good. Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, just performance wise, just okay. Nothing stand out. Nothing. You don't remember him. When you think about the Lazarus Experiment, you don't think about the episode because of Mark Gatiss's performance.
No, in fact, it sounds awful, but I often forget he's even in it. Actually, to be, you know, I don't, like you said, don't mean that. Sorry, that sounded a bit harsh. But what I mean is, it's not the first thing I think of when I think of the Lazarus Experiment. I suppose he's quite good at the end, though. I think that's when he finally starts to give a bit of something. It's when he's in the cathedral and he's wrapped in his towel and he looks quite sort of defenseless, or obviously he's not. And all that sort of stuff. So he's quite good in that sense, because he comes across as quite creepy because he's just knocked off those two poor ambulance people. But yeah, it's a good, if not outstanding, performance, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and that is his best scene at the end, really, where he's given a bit more to work with.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff. So it's okay. I think, I mean, as an episode, it's mainly remembered for David Tennant in a tux. And some crazy scorpion spider monster thing that didn't look very good.
That's what I always think of that thing. Yeah. That's what I think of, nice scene at the end with Martha getting the TARDIS key. That's the only other thing I would sort of add to this. That's a nice to see her being invited on board the TARDIS for however many stories she gets. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that's quite nice.
Yes. Anything you want to mention before we get on to our scores on the doors?
No, I think we've covered it, mate. There is something written at the bottom of my pad which I've been trying to read for the last 5 minutes because I can't read my terrible writing. So whatever that very important point is will never be known. It just says Doctor playing 10. I don't know what it is I've written there. That was my last point, but I can't read my awful writing, so no idea. It might be 10 playing the organ, actually. Maybe I was just saying how good it was.
Yeah,
that's probably what. Let's go with that. So no, I think we've covered it, mate. Yeah.
It's you to go first.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, right. I'm scoring this 5.5 out of 10.
5.5.
Very middle of the road. Yeah, just middle. I went with that extra 0.5 just because I don't think it's terrible. It's definitely watchable. So 5.5.
Okay, I was slightly more ruthless and I went with a 5.
Okay, well, that's fair enough, yeah.
Because I thought it was bang down the middle.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yes, right. What did our lovely listeners think?
Oh, yes.
Let's do an audio review first. This is Owen Daly.
Hi guys, hope you're both well and enjoying the show this week. Just want to point out, sorry for not sending in an audio clip last week, as I intended to watch The Romans, but I never got around to watching it because of school, life and the rest, which is pretty typical. So I'll get around to watching it, but it sounded like a good enough story. So, The Lazarus Experiment. Series 3 is my favourite series of the modern series, but this definitely falls into the weaker half of it. I find nothing too major happens in it, and it doesn't have any long-lasting effects. However, I do like how we get to see Martha's family a lot more and we get to know them. I like to see Ten in that Bond-style suit. I think he looks very, very well in it, and he just looks great in it. The monster in the story was pretty average, and I wasn't a huge fan of how it's this massive mutated monster, as I think it would have looked a lot better if it was kind of deformed like in the Planet of Evil, except a bit more exaggerated than that, but kind of stayed looking human, but a lot more deformed. It's very forgettable as well, and if only the name of Lazarus was in the title, I wouldn't be able to remember his name. Mark Gatiss was kind of wasted in the story, as I think he's a better actor than that, and this story didn't give him too much to do. But I'd like to see him return to do some more acting chops, because he can do them. There's some good foreshadowing in the story with the Lazarus machine that makes him young, if you get me, and the Saxon references, which both lead nicely into the season finale. I like Martha and Tish together, and I would love to see them together, in a TARDIS team, because I think Tish, Martha, and the Doctor would have made a great TARDIS team, and seeing the chemistry would have been fantastic. It's a good and a bad story, so I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. So thanks for listening, and enjoy what's left of the show.
Thank you very much, Owen.
Cheers, Owen. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the Romans if you get around to watching it. It's a very Marmite one, that. I listened to a podcast after ours that absolutely destroyed it. Right. They hated it. So it'd be interesting to see what you think of it. We quite liked it.
Yes, and don't worry about not sending in clips and stuff like that. We know all too well how life
gets in the way.
It does, yes. So not to worry. Right, over on Twitter, Rainer, Twitter name @PotterFan92, says it's just an okay episode, not one that I go back to that often. And Dan Kenworthy, his Twitter name is @DanWFA, says, love the Lazarus Experiment. Such an experiment of an episode showing a really neat idea of a villain.
Okay.
Over on Facebook, Charlie Turner says, I don't really find it that bad. I like how it tied in with the finale a bit. Always like stories like that if it's written well. Unlike the Series 6 finale, The Wedding of River Song. I hated that finale, and I still hate it now. But when I think of the Lazarus Experiment, I say it's watchable, definitely not the best, but not the worst either. Although I think the Lazarus monster design is kind of cool, I guess. But I loved the 10th Doctor's outfit. He definitely resembled James Bond to me, as it was pointed out in the episode for a brief moment. But I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yes. Yep. Jeff Waddle says, awful. Poorly realised monster, little plot, and easily one of the worst episodes of Tennant's run. I wouldn't even blame the actors, just think the script is poor and their lines are laughably bad. He gives it a 2.
A 2 from Jeff.
Yes. Lewis Palmer, I've always loved this story. Granted, the memories of being 5 and watching Volume 2 of Series 3, which was the first 2 Who I ever got, on a loop might not help, but even so, I think it's a great one. The monster is pretty creepy, especially the voice, although everything about the origin feels like it could have been lifted out of a Spider-Man story. The Doctor trying to fit in to a party is very funny, and I love the whole monster movie feel to it all. It's not perfect by any means. There are things that don't make sense, and the CGI is occasionally dated. But when I was younger, that didn't matter, and I was going on a fun, scary adventure with the Doctor. As I say, it's not perfect, but if I ever want to relax with a Who story, I find myself picking this one a lot. It's pure dumb fun that I love viewing every time. 8.5.
Ah, fair enough. Yeah, so that's quite high score.
Yeah, interesting view. It's cool that the nostalgia plays a part in his thoughts on this, because we all have that from time to time, don't we, with things where we were younger, when we were a young lad and we were watching, something. It definitely has an impact, a lasting impact on our view on things. But cheers, Lewis.
Yeah, definitely.
Final audio clip. This is from Joe Sweeney.
Hello again, Adam. Hope you're too well. The Lazarus Experiment, in my opinion, is quite a decent story out of Series 3. It kicked off nicely with the Doctor drops Mother back on modern-day Earth, and then later on they decide to investigate Professor Lazarus' technology and his power behind it. And this episode has got a combination of great storyline, dialogue, concept, and formation. And I think it's clever how the story all ties in so very nicely with the 2-part series finale. And it's got a couple of good reference of the Howard Saxon arc. And I was invested of Lazarus, of how he set his goal on from going from being old to be young and live forever, and that his experiment goes horribly wrong and he ends up being transformed into this gigantic monster. And I thought Lazarus Monster was very well thought up and very well created. And I thought Mark Gatiss portrayed the character so very well. And as all rounds to good acting from David Tennant and Freema Agyeman. And I thought Martha's family was very well developed, but however, I do find Martha's mum quite annoying. So it's going to be a 7.5 out of 10.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Did you not get an audio clip from Paul Burns?
Paul Burns?
Yeah. He sent me a message 2 days ago. He just said, "Oh, can you use this clip instead of the one I sent?" And I said, "No." I said, "You need to send it to this address." I sent him the link. But did we not get anything from him?
I'll just have a double check.
I must start. I always forget to check these things. If it's not there, don't worry. It's only because he messaged me that made me think of it. Perhaps he never resent it.
Let's have a look. No, buddy.
No? Okay, no worries. It's only because he messaged me that I even thought of it, but perhaps he never got around to sending it. Because he sent me a audio clip on Facebook.
Okay.
And it was really good. And it's the first one. He said, "Oh, I've been meaning to send one for ages." And I finally did it. And I said, "Oh, it's really good." I said, "But you need to send it because I can't take it from Messenger. I don't know how you do that." I said, "I can't lift it." So you need to send it to the email address.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Obviously.
Yes. I saw that he had sent something through on Facebook. But for the same reason, I couldn't lift it out of there.
No.
So did you ask him to email it in then?
Yeah, I sent him the email address. I said to him, "Oh, so that's why then." So he sent it on Facebook, but not. No, I told him. I said it needs to be sent to the email address. I'll message him later and just say, if you do an audio clip in the future, you need to send it to this address because we can't lift it from Facebook. Yeah.
So, Series 3, The Lazarus Experiment.
I can actually play it if you want. I can play it through now, and it will come through if you want.
Is it the? Yeah, but I'm wondering if it's because he said he sent one, and then he said, "Can we not use that one? Can we use this one?" I'm just wondering, have you got one or two?
Just one, the first one.
Sorry, I'll just say to him, "You need no," because it won't be the one he wants played.
Right. Yeah,
it'll be the one that I've got. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, it's his own fault for not sending it.
Okay, cool. All right, no worries.
I'll message you, mate. I'll just say, look, we can only do it from the email. So
yeah. Okay,
that's fine.
Right, I'll kick back in with going back to Facebook then.
Okay.
Right, back on Facebook, George Coppen says, normal, nothing special. Villain is okay, not an episode I rushed to watch again and again, much before the 2 episodes before it. 5 out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
George not
Cheers,
liking
George.
it. Yep. Alan Percival says, an awful story, which I have never revisited.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dearie me. Miles Mackenzie, this has got to be one of the best filler episodes of all time. The Science Geek line is one of Tennant's best. Martha's family got lovely character development. This episode feels like anyone can watch it and understand what's happening. And Martha gets her key in this one, which is a very nice moment. Lazarus Creature was an interesting concept with cells in our body that don't actually do anything. Overall, 8.5.
He's got a good point about it. It is one that anybody could sit and watch. That's true.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you sort of had the family round, Doctor Who's on, do you mind if I watch it? Oh, but we don't like Doctor Who. Everybody could just sit and watch this and know. Easy to follow, let's put it that way.
Yeah, true. Greg Toby says, didn't really enjoy this one. The monster was a bit rubbish, the plot was ropey, and the script, don't even get me started on the script. It's even ropier than the plot, and that's saying something, and he gives it a 2 out of 10.
Oh dear, a few people saying about the script as well. Yeah.
Lastly on Facebook, Sammy Satine. So the Doctor goes to drop Martha off home, but sees Professor Lazarus is up to something. They go and investigate, and along the way, they meet Martha's family. Lazarus turns himself into some sort of monster and kills a few people, including his wife. Can the Doctor stop Lazarus? First of all, I'd like to stand up for Tish. She sticks up for her sister when her mother starts asking questions about the Doctor, helps her sister help the Doctor defeat Lazarus, and is the only member of the family to accept the Doctor into their lives.
Yeah.
So I like her. The rest of Martha's family, they just never really do it for me. Martha's mother is not very well written, in my opinion. I think the actress who plays her is great. I've seen her in other things, Jonathan Creek and Broadchurch, and she's been great.
She's in Broadchurch.
Yeah. I like Martha. She thinks for herself, and she gets things to do in this episode. DNA sample from Lazarus, uses a sonic screwdriver to get everyone out of the building, entices Lazarus up the stairs in the clock tower. Only thing that annoys me about Martha in Series 3 is how she constantly mentions that she's in love with the Doctor and how he doesn't love her. Boo-hoo-hoo. Mark Gatiss does creepy old man and smug younger man rather well. David looks great in his tux, and he pulls off a great performance in this, even managing a third Doctor reference. It shouldn't take that long to reverse the polarity. Yay!
Yay!
Shame he didn't add of the neutron flow, but you can't have everything. I also love how we get the conversations between Lazarus and the Doctor about living longer and how that can be a curse. One thing that gets me, though, is the 2 endings. Lazarus being defeated by his machine feels like a good ending, but then I like the playing of the organ and using the sonic sound waves to defeat him. I wish it didn't have 2 endings, but then again, David in a tux, 10 out of 10.
Fair point, yeah.
Thank you very much, Sammy. That's it on the official Facebook page. Did you have anything on the Geek's Handbag?
Yeah, I had a couple. Yeah, so I had Mark Daniel Mooney. It's a good name, isn't it? Solid episode. CGI was good. Good, straightforward story, he says. Jason Howe says, I rate this as one of the worst of the 10th Doctor stories, so not a fan. Patrick Sherwood, he says, it's okay. I don't mind the story, but it would not be a story that I would watch unless I'm doing a marathon where I'm watching all the new series stories in a row. So basically, it's not one he reaches for, and he would give it a 7.5 out of 10. And finally, Loopy Land, Loopy Lou, she says, I really enjoy this one. Mark Gatiss was brilliant, but I'm not a fan of the CGI monster. I think it let the side down rather. Good story, though. She would give it 6 out of 10. Thanks, Lou.
6 out of 10.
Okie
dokie.
So, real mixed bag, actually, this one, because we've had some people we've had nobody that really. Oh no, we did have one person really loved it. That was Lewis, wasn't it? Really likes it.
Yeah.
But most people like us middle of the road, and a few people who think it's dreadful. So kind of middle to bottom this one, isn't it? And then just 1 or 2 that really like it.
Yeah, and Sammy likes it for 10.
Sammy likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okie dokie. A total mixed bag. Total mixed bag, but mainly script letting it down. poor script and story, basically, but a few good elements in there.
We won't be having Mr. Greenhorn back for Series 10 or 11, I hope.
Mr. Greenhorn, you're not coming back. You're out there.
You've had 2 goes.
You've now got to join Moffat out in the rain, just watching through the window.
Just watching a TV in an Argos window. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that.
Bottle in a brown bag.
Yeah.
This used to be my my gig, This is my show.
Yeah. Wow. You shouldn't have mucked about with it, should you? No. You shouldn't have mucked about.
As Russell T Davies drives by in a Porsche and splashes water over him.
Yeah, with his sunglasses just raised up, big smile. All right. Before we move on to what we're doing next week, I'd just like to say, if you want to send us your reviews, audio clips, anything of that nature, there are 2 ways that you can do that. Just a friendly reminder, really. The first one is you can give us a written review any way you like. That can be on Twitter, on Facebook, it can be on Snapchat, it can be on Instagram, or if you want to jump onto the official Facebook page, that's where the post goes each week for the story that we're reviewing. So you can send us written stuff, or you can email us. If you just send an email to hello@bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk, that will come through to us. So all the written stuff, if you want to just do typey, send it to any of those, that's all good. If you want to send an audio clip, which we love it when you guys send us your audio clips, you need to attach that to an email. So a few times in the past, people have sent audio clips in via Facebook, or they've tried to do like a Dropbox link that's failed or whatever it is. So if you want to send an audio clip, we'd love that. You just need to attach it to an email. So hello@bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. Get that through to us and we'll get it into the show.
Perfect.
Right, next week, talking of reversing polarity.
Third Doctor story.
Yeah, we're going to visit old Ruffles next week. Adam, what are we going to review next week?
Next week, it's the maggots. Maggots attack. And the Green Death.
The maggots.
The maggots attack.
Yes, the giant larvae, whatever.
Yeah, green screen at the ready.
Yes. Oh, crikey, Moses. So yeah, Pertwee story. Pertwee. My wife will kill me. She hates me saying Pertwee. Right, Pertwee.
Pertwee.
Yeah, I have to clearly pronounce the T.
Oh, right.
If I say Pertwee, then I get a right-hander like Tennant gets from...
You get a Martha's mum slap
yes.
around the chops.
So next week, it's a Pertwee story. The Green Death. So looking forward to your reviews and thoughts and clips and whatever on that one. It's going to be good. But until then, I think we're going to close for 109.
Okay.
Thank you for sticking with us and joining us for this episode this week, 109. We had some rather interesting news bits. I'm really interested to see what you guys think about Class, because other than seeing just people fling the odd Twitter comment around and stuff like that, I mean, I'm sure that you and I will talk about it once it's gone out, the first episode.
Oh, we will. Yeah, we will.
But would still like to know what you guys think of the upcoming spin-off show Class. Interesting to gauge what the Whoniverse is thinking, or our listeners anyway, regarding Class, because I'm pretty sure that we'll see, some more teaser images and hopefully a trailer over the next few weeks as we run up to the pilot going out.
Yeah, it's got to start ramping up very soon, as it must do.
I would hope so.
Unless it's going to be very low key, which I don't think it is. So yeah, we've got to start ramping up. So they took him out to America, for goodness sake. So come on, we need some stuff.
We do, yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Right, so head over to our website. We have a website. It is at www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk or .com, whatever tickles your fancy. And on there you can listen to this episode again, or you can listen to all the previous episodes, and you can also link off to Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and that stuff. And you can also hit the big button that will take you over to iTunes so you can subscribe and never miss an episode, which goes out every Friday morning at 7 a.m. sharp. None of this broken time, like the Doctor not being able.
Like a broken clock.
Better time than you. So it goes out every Friday at 7. And if you are an iTunes listener, if you could give us a rating and a review, that would be amazing, because it really helps us. We had a couple of people leave very lovely comments once again over the last week, so a massive thank you. That's really cool. Remember to check out Adam's channel, The Geek's Handbag. Just do a search for The Geek's Handbag on YouTube and Facebook. Plenty of good stuff there. Looking forward to your thoughts on the Green Death next week. We'll read them all out and play them, whatever you like. Next week, that'll be good. So until then, my name's Gary.
And my name's Adam.
And remember...
Let's get it right.